Представленная работа посвящена
So this is the work of the econometric exchange rate of ruble to dollar. There were the equations of nominal and real course, exchange rate. So we're going to be talking about nominal, not real. And this was a quarterly data, and that was from 1990 to 21, so 92 points, and this is the smallest quadrants, ordinary release squares OLS and MLH, and so what are the results? This, we calculated this, the elasticity, this is the level of the nominal exchange rate, and they are listed in this table. And in this table, what is the elasticity? The module that exceeds 1/10. The dependence. There are other variables here, and we're not talking about these variables because this is a linear equations, and elasticities are variable, and there's the filters here that are applied. And what can we say here? Based on these tables, that the dollar exchange rate, there's a lot of variables impact on that. There's 11 here, and in the equation there is more of that. And when people say, well, let's prognosticate just one, so this is the oil price, for example. No, that's wrong. The role of external, like world prices, inflation in the US, GDP in the US is quite seriously impacts as well. But after 2013, the elasticities have gone down. The internal economical factors here, these economic activities of the population, and so the resources make the ruble stronger.
Но вероятно потому, что его рост означает одновременное увеличение импорта. Повышение доли потребительских расходов и инвестиций в основной капитал ВВП ослабляет рубль, вероятно потому, что отражает сильную зависимость этих расходов от импорта. В то же время рост государственных закупок укрепляет его, вероятно потому, что означает обращение в первую очередь к отечественным производителям. И, наконец, объем денежной массы – единственный фактор, влияния которого на рубль неуклонно усиливается. Далее. Как там? Да. Какие можно выводы сделать на основании этих оценок? Давайте посмотрим, во-первых, на табличку 2. Здесь указана динамика всех этих переменных во времени. Тоже сглаженный фильтром Ходрика-Прескотта вот по периодам. Значит, что можно сделать? Какие выводы на основании этой таблицы? На ослабление рубля что влияло? Замедление экспортных цен до 2019 года, правда, потом и динамика улучшилась. Замедление роста ВВП тоже до 2019 года. Нет, ослабляло рубль. Да. Замедление, а зачем прекращение роста трудовых ресурсов? Замедление роста государственных закупок. В то же время постепенное ужесточение денежной политики действовало в противоположном направлении, то есть укрепляло рубль. Расчеты, проведенные на основе вот этих двух таблиц, показало, что в период с 2000 по 2021 год наибольший вклад, вообще неважно какой, в динамику обменного курса рубля, несли такие факторы, как замедление, динамика экспортных цен, рост ВВП России, рост денежной массы, рост государственных закупок, динамика рабочей силы, инфляция в Соединенных Штатах и рост ВВП США и ЮСР в целом. То есть это вот произведение динамики этих перемен и их эластичности. И что оказало в итоге это произведение наибольшее влияние на динамику рубля. Для более точной оценки вклада каждой из этих переменных в различные периоды был рассчитан следующий индекс. Посмотрите, вот такой вот, где И – это сглаженный индекс номинального курса доллара, где первый квартал 1999 года принят за единицу. Икс – это значение всех этих переменных, которые были в таблице. Альфа – это эластичности, которые мы видели в первой таблице курса доллара по этим переменным. Ну и вот на основе вот всех этих расчетов посмотрите следующие выводы о влиянии. Как все эти переменные влияли в разные периоды времени, за вот последние 22 года, на курс рубля. Значит, стрелка, которая направлена на северо-восток, это укрепление рубля, значит, данный фактор в данный период укреплял рубль. Если стрелка направлена на юго-восток, значит, данный фактор в данный период ослаблял рубль. Если она горизонтальна, это было нейтральное влияние на рубль. Значит, что можно сделать какие выводы из этой таблицы, из этих расчетов. Ну, расчеты стоят за кадром, потому что здесь цифры не приведены. За весь период внутри экономические факторы в сумме, вот как сумма действия факторов, они преимущественно укрепляли рубль. Неуклонно ослаблял рубль только рост денежной массы. Тем не менее, действие этих факторов в сумме постепенно ослабевало. И в последние
It
2
was
года...
making it weaker.
Далее, за весь период
So, for all the period of economic factors here, it was weakening the factors, and there were the factors of external economics that was making it stronger. So that was the GDP, for example, and in the entire time, the external factors were weaker than the impact of the internal factors, but it was growing. The internal were making weaker, external factors were weakening a little bit after 2019. After 2013, the summary impact of external was exceeding of the summary impact of the internal factors. So what kind of conclusions could be? Many factors impacting here. They're external. They could be not controlled by economic policy of Russia. So any prognosis that is just specifically, the popular press, this is all just laughable when I have these predictions. And the situation here is the prognosis is in this equation, the econometric printout. It will be published in the article. That makes it difficult that it is impacted, that the trend of effective variable shown in the table impacts the dynamic, but how it impacts the dynamic, maybe that is spanning the market, and maybe it is the loss of resolving policies, and maybe that is making the prognosis worse. Also the sanctions against Russia, of course, because we understand that if we now get out of this election and the strengthening of the ruble in the second quarter, maybe that is a breakdown of the equation. Maybe the ruble, the new currency policies, maybe we're selling more currency, maybe we use the imports. So the results show that the exchange rate Russia may impact the fiscal monetary policies, but the data is limited. The data from the first quarter demonstrate that in the first quarter of 2022, the monetary policy has not been restrictive, and in that period, in the quarter, the money in circulation has gone to 2.9%. This is 12.3%. So there was no slowdown in the money in circulation. Sergey, can you please slow down? The interpreter is slowing down. Yeah, there is interpretation there. I am actually, I am talking, I'm just saying now, yeah, we'll slow down, but then I'll take probably more time. In the preliminary data, 2022, the GDP has grown 3.3% the first quarter in 2022, and it is possible to strengthen the ruble. And then, of course, there is a slowdown of the GDP. What's making it slower? The different prognosis and different reflections, all these changes, they impact on each other. For example, the money in circulation, if it's too much, then it's making it quicker, but then it makes the liquidity of the economy, and the GDP has grown, and then it makes it stronger. So if the growth of money in circulation may actually make ruble stronger, which is the paradoxical thing, but there you go. Let's go to the real. Let's go to the real exchange rate. The real exchange rate. This is the formula. This is the one. I'm so sorry. So this is the ER. This is the real exchange rate. E is nominal. P US and P Rus. This is the price index. These are the indices mentioned. So, what is the problem in my view? The thing is that in my view, the issue here is. The theory of the real exchange rate, the real exchange must be impacted by the fundamental changes like economic growth and demand for domestic goods, total inflation, and I think that the nominal should be impacted by the shorter term, like monetary policies, some other short-term factors. So it's should be something like that. What I also don't get is the causality here, what impacts on what. You are the doctor of history, and in the 30s, who beat whom? Who beat whom? So, and I don't know. Is it nominal? It determines the real, or the real determines the nominal? We don't know. So if it talks the causality is you can just find the lags, and they can prove anything. And then what is also complex here, look at the formula. The variables here, they can impact both nominal E. For example, if they're actually board, I would have drawn it so it could impact on both variables on the right hand. So doesn't make it clear how it impacts on the left part. The nominal course impact on the prices in Russia. That makes it all even more complex. There will be table 6 where this program is reflected. Have a look, please. There's 2 other tables. The version of our macroeconomic 2020, so it's 2 years of age, and there is no new macroeconomic. So the impulse multiplier is the deflator of the GDP when the entire market is exogenous variables. You can see the multipliers, how they impact. You can see the entire set of and the elasticity of the GDP deflate here. So these are all the variables. Deflator of you can see in the same equation how it impacts on the price rise. These are the variables, and from here we can write down table 6. Table 6. Have a look. How is it impacted? The various variables, exogenous and endogenous variable, the version 2022, how do they impact on a nominal exchange rate, the prices, and how they can impact on the real exchange rate. GDP improves, it reduces prices, so it impacts. It reduces prices, so we don't know. So again, the money in circulation makes it weaker, the nominal exchange rate, and how it impacts the real exchange rate, we don't know. And in terms of it makes it stronger and increases prices, so you can see that it makes the real exchange rate stronger. You can see all these variables. If there is a blank there, then it is not specified in the equation, so the impact is unclear, and you can see question mark here impacting the real exchange rate. And what impacts on that? Definitely that is the growth of economically active population and export prices. So these are the things that impact the real exchange rate. All the other variables that impact the real exchange rate is quite ambiguous. And let's see further. This is the picture, the index of a real exchange rate, and this is the first quarter. Here, what do we see here? We see that after 1999, ruble was getting stronger to 2011. Then it's gone a little bit weaker, but the speed was much slower, and then getting stronger until 2011. So the priority of purchasing power that always work for strengthening of the ruble, but this dynamic has changed and weaker. So what does that mean? That means that in this situation, the situation shows that why is it so difficult to assess the exchange rate. The equation was not very good. I'm not going to popularize it. So the elasticities which were calculated there as a result, they were quite large and they're probably not quite real. So they exceed the elasticities which have been calculated in the nominal exchange rate equation. So what can be done? The real exchange rate is much more sensitive than the nominal to all these impacts that were written down, and then it's a strengthening of the real exchange rate. This is a blue line. There were again those variables that strengthen the growth of real GDP, dynamic of export prices. The fact is that we're weakening the real exchange rate. This is the bank rates to business and to persons, and inflation in the USA makes it weaker. It's the same. Thank you very much for your attention. I am done. Thank you.